there we go. Okay, let's see what happened in this game. Actually, this move is already interesting. Do you know why this move was considered bad in traditional theory?
Oh, it leaves one more space for your opponent to play to.
Right.
Give your opponent one more line.
So then actually my question to you is that why didn't you play on this side? Some move here. Also, holy shit, that was...
Because I generally like the one space high enclosure for the 3-4 point. Like I really love
Mm.
it.
Okay, you may like that shape, but wouldn't it make sense to still play something on this side? Maybe this one. When you play here, you are making the left side even bigger than it was before, right? And now white gets the next move. The side is bigger than before because, say,
Yeah,
white plays
okay.
elsewhere.
Now the enclosure is more powerful.
Yeah, the enclosure is more powerful, so like this move is actually way bigger than it is if you don't have the enclosure on top left corner, right? So it really incentivizes white to play there next.
Okay. Give me a moment. Alright, back.
Okay, good. But yeah, like it's a tiny mistake, but something to consider because um, white's this move gave black a chance to make the game a bit easier for black, and then this move basically brought it back to balance, right?
Okay.
By letting white fix the problem. But yeah, it's a tiny detail, but something that you can actually consider in your games. Just playing on the white side. Mm. Uh, yeah, this move is fine. Uh, I agree that the move should be approaching the bottom right corner. That is the biggest thing. Or enclosing the top right corner. Like that is fine too. Which approach you choose does not really matter actually. So it's just up to style. And I'm guessing you didn't want to have white built so much on the bottom side, so you approach here.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, if you play this move, can you tell me why you should not be worried about the bottom side too much?
I mean, I could tell you why I think I should be worried about the bottom side.
Okay, well, that's actually interesting. Let's discuss that. Why would you be worried about it?
Because there is a high enclosure on the left side,
Mm-hmm.
so I was concerned that that would help him make more territory later.
Right, so let's imagine which white move would you play here?
I would play A4. O4, sorry, O4.
So far, okay. So let's play something normal. Like this happens. Um, you can probably see that, yeah, white is actually building something quite substantial on the bottom side. But who is actually building more? Black or white? Because in the picture I see actually all of black's four groups or three groups are working well together, right? So in this picture, black is having some very nice wallboard development, and that is why you don't need to be worried about the bottom side. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
Because in this picture, black is threatening to build more than white. But yeah, approaching from here is just as good. This move is a bit strange.
I was just really trying to destroy his potential, and her potential.
Mm.
I was concerned that if I slid, she would just force me into the corner.
So you were worried about this.
Yes.
Okay, let's imagine this happens, and something like this usually follows.
Yeah.
So white still. Can white Hana? I always forget. Yeah, white can Hana. So black fixes, white fixes. Quite simple. Two things to notice. The corner is actually big. Like the corner is not just the few points black got here, right? The corner is also these points that white did not get. And white will also not get like these points, right?
Yeah.
So
It looks like
actually black's gain in this corner is like, if we imagine like black gets these, maybe 10 points, let's say 10 points, black gets these 10 points. It is also around 10 to 15 points white did not get.
yeah. So it's like a swing of maybe 30 points, including the.
Maybe not 30, but 20 to 25.
Okay.
So that is actually, it might look that black is extremely smaller, but if we just think about the raw points, it's really big. And yes, white gets a lot of influence, but because it is so many points, this is considered even. And something you also notice, who gets the next move?
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
So if you're still worried about the bottom side, well, you can play there. Or if not, like you can pick a side and play something big. So it's actually fairly rare that white chooses to play this way. Actually, I want to know so that white can choose to take center now, but that then means that later on, black has a massive follow-up, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't usually happen. Sorry, I have something in my throat again, so I'm taking breaks to cough. So,
Cool.
just from the kind of fundamental perspective, this slide should be the first thing you consider. And that consideration is not just because of points or influence or anything. The consideration is simply that if you play here, you are not putting any pressure on these two stones. So white can
Yeah.
do whatever they want here.
Okay.
While, and if white kicks, and white did kick, okay, yeah. So white can like force you to do things. If you slide, you are the one telling white what to do. And this move is pressuring the two stones, so usually white wants to answer. White doesn't have to, but it's really big. So then we can imagine this. And now there is no move for black that actually pressures white effectively. So then now you usually take the base. And this result should feel much better for black than what happened in the game.
Yeah. Okay.
That said, usually white doesn't want to kick here. Can you tell me why? Asking Bunny actually.
I'm not sure. I thought I was protecting my corner, and at the same time, I knew he would extend, but he already had an extension that was just 2 points away. And usually, when you have
So
2 and 3 points away, so I thought it would be inefficient for him to have his shape, and
Yeah.
it would be
uh-huh.
fine.
My thoughts are same.
So there's actually too much thought already there. So you said you wanted to protect the corner.
Mhm.
That is a fine goal. When you played this, were you aware that there is this move?
I thought with my 3 stones it was protected.
Aha.
And
Okay.
I know I failed, but I thought I just failed for misreading and not failed because my situation was bad.
I know.
What
This move exists. It is in this shape. So whenever you have this kind of kick, and like this kind of kick shape, and this back off, the tree still works. It exists. That is why actually for a long time before we got AI, the kick shape was considered bad. But AI says, hey, it's fine. But if you want to protect the corner, then this is usually the move. And now there is nothing in the corner black can do. Other than black can later maybe get free stuff this way, but not more. So yeah, just remember this shape in this corner, like when you have the Keima and you actually want to protect the corner, then just player.
Okay.
The kick is not a bad move, but usually when you want to play it is if black the nook is now, there's something here, then you can kick and insert somehow. I can discuss that 3D invasion a bit more when you get to it in the game, because it is interesting. And it shouldn't be as good for black as it was. Okay, let's not talk too much about direction of play. This move is fine. No? Okay, why this move specifically? I'm sure you know that the normal move is here. So why this one?
I thought that since I already had some stones in the bottom, it worked better to protect the entire side.
Aha.
Maybe it was too greedy.
So are you familiar with this kind of tree space extension shape from third line to fourth line?
Yeah.
So if you know this shape, then you should also know that this move is an invasion point that exists.
Mhm.
Did you know this?
Yeah, but I don't know exactly how this happens after the invasion.
Okay,
But
do you want to
yeah,
play this forward a bit?
sure.
Give me a white move.
I would play Q8.
Okay, yeah, Q8 is a normal move. Then black has options, but maybe the simplest option is just to extend.
Q9.
Q9, okay. And let's extend again.
Hane.
Hane, okay. Hane back.
Extend
Okay.
my 6 stone.
Extend, then
Probably have a base by
extend.
now. Hane.
Okay, Hane. Extend.
Q7.
Okay. Hane.
Yeah, you have a base.
I have a base. Very easy.
Yeah.
So actually, when you make this kind of shape, you have to accept that this stone will leave very easily. Usually. If white has more strength on the outside, white can sometimes fight. But you should assume that this stone will live. And then in this situation, maybe the best move is to kick and jump out. Maybe, I'm not sure. But this actually then does protect against this, right? So it's not usual. So then when we know that issue exists, we can probably see that the same issue exists on this side. Right?
Yeah.
So then, can you now feel why the Q10 move is actually doing way less than it seems?
Yes.
And very importantly, if black invades here, can you see how black is actually directly attacking these two stones? So that is actually why even the pros, oops, that is cage. Yes, let's actually log out of there. Even pros most often play this one just to make sure there is nothing there.
Makes sense.
It is true that it is sad to build between two low stones, but the groups being strong comes before points. That is more important. Now, I cannot say this is a bad move. I'm just going to say that this move will lead to complications. Okay. This move is a bit strange. What was the idea?
The idea was to strengthen the top left corner while also taking some amount of points on the upper side.
Why do you want to strengthen the corner?
Just because I know that it can be invaded very easily.
Oh. Give me a white move to invade it.
D7.
D17, okay. You connect.
White. E7 or C7.
E17 is more reasonable, so Hane.
Pull back.
You win this.
Yeah.
Okay. Hane.
D7, D18.
Okay, P18, connect.
On a F8.
F18, okay. Double Hane.
Just, I don't know, felt like, I don't know, E18.
Okay, E18. Black fixes.
And Tanuki.
Oh, Tenuki is a bit dangerous. I can show you why. If you Tenuki, black can play here.
D19.
Okay, well if you play D19, what are here?
Connect.
Connect and Hane.
Yep.
And usually when this happens, the move is to drop down. But then black can just play here.
Yeah.
And yeah, bulky 5 shape. And if this one, then play here. There.
Yep.
So this corner is dead. So white has to add a move. So usually white plays here. Now, what did white gain?
Like, it was a swing, maybe, I don't know, 20 points. Plus
So let's say white has 6 points there now. And maybe we could say that black originally had maybe 12 points in the corner. So around 20 points. Yeah.
Yeah.
So white gained 20 points from this. What did black gain?
Lots of influence and an ability to build a large base in either direction.
Right. And something else too.
Sente.
And something else.
Okay, now I think you have me.
Okay. What black gained is that when we go to this shape, we know this shape has weaknesses, right?
So I gain thickness.
Yes, you gain thickness. You also, this means that white committed to a decision. White committed to taking the corner. So white no longer, as maybe later on, reducing from here would be more important. White no longer has this option. So you usually want to be wary of making this kind of big commitment. It is not impossible, but something to consider. Also, I believe Black should be able to get a better result here too, let's say. Maybe not. Nah. Black should be happy with this. But okay. We protect the corner. If we don't protect the corner, can you find a more interesting move?
Interesting move.
More interesting.
Um,
For black.
for black, yeah. Maybe something like C10.
Sure. I like this move a lot. Like, this move is actually building from 3 T-stones. And if we actually get to build from this, like if white invades the corner now, then this basically becomes territory, right?
Yeah.
This area. Which then would mean which area is actually bigger? A or B?
B.
Right. So if you play a move like this, white actually doesn't have time to worry about your corner. Because you would be gaining too much from it. This also just like, you are a weapon closure, get the extension, it's big. Whereas when you defend here, like you did in game, yeah, white gets to do exactly this. White gets to remove your extension while getting an extension from her for herself. By the way, Bani, about this one, I'm guessing you were deciding between like these 4 moves.
Yeah.
So
Well, something in the bottom was also an option when I was looking at, but this
right,
side was
like
bigger, so
there.
I wanted to play on this side.
Yeah, makes sense. Playing like on the bottom side something would be fine too. I'm just curious about the decision. Why specifically C?
My closest stone was in the 3rd line, so I thought maybe I could have something on the 4th line. That would leave between C and D. Now, between C and D, I wanted to try to go farther, even if he would try to invade later.
Right. So I'm going to say that I cannot say C is a mistake. It's by no means a mistake. It's impossible to say that. I'm going to say that I like A more. And the reason is when you play C, black has, first of all, black has this nice invasion point here later on, which is actually really annoying to deal with. And I feel that now that you see this move on the board, you feel annoyed.
I do.
Yeah, it's annoying. Also, black could just play here, which is kind of putting pressure on the D11 stone as it's trying to remove the base from it. So these 2 moves, like when you play a 4th line stone, you should always consider the 3rd line approach moves. They are often the most annoying options. Now, the reason I like A is that now black doesn't have such a comfortable option. If black now chooses to play here, you can jump and it's a fight. Because black cannot get a nice base. And actually, white still can. So that is something to consider too. But yeah, it's a small detail, it's just something interesting. This move, however, this move I hate. So, do you know that if, let's consider a different move order here, white played something else, black played here. Now, you know that a shoulder hit is actually a fairly common move, right?
Yeah.
To reduce. And this reduction is considered even, right?
Okay.
It is good for both. Like black will gain something, but so will white. It is considered even with the assumption that black gets that first move, right? Or like one more move. When this happens in the game, it is the same shape, same, like you should consider a shoulder hit to be a shape, right?
Yeah.
But now white gets the next move. So in a position where black gets the next move, that would be even. Now white gets the next move. So can it be even anymore?
No.
Right. So you should usually be wary of making this kind of armpit hit move, just because locally it is much better shape for white. And then if you want to play here, I would play this move instead.
Okay.
But instead I would say, hey, white, you have a shape issue, I'll come from this side. But I hope you now see why this move strikes me as very strange. Do you, or do I need to elaborate more on it?
No, I see why.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. And yeah, like, now that this block happens, what were you thinking during the game? Did this feel good or bad?
Oh, it felt bad.
Yeah.
Like her potential was much bigger than mine.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. This move is strange, like, usually white should just honey. And I'm sure Bunny knows this, so I'm a bit mystified by the jump.
Yeah, I knew the usual move is to Hane, but I didn't play it for some reason.
I can tell.
Yep.
Maybe not a big deal, but just strange. Do you know why we so often want to make this honey? What is it doing?
threatening to cut off the stones.
Got what stones from what?
Oh, sorry. It's threatening to kill the C12 and D12 stones.
I don't see any move for white that actually kills those stones. If black Tenukis, give me a move.
Well, D13, C13.
Uh,
Okay,
wait,
yeah.
B13? No, D13, okay. White cannot do this. Can you tell me why?
Shape weaknesses.
Right, exactly. This is absolutely terrible shape for white. Like, this stone has 2 liberties, this stone has 3 liberties, there are cuts. It's like, oh my god, white has to fix something. And then did those stones die? No. The important thing about the honey is that it severely reduces black's liberties. And the fact that black has fewer liberties also means that, say, if white double honeys, black can't actually fight. Because black has so few liberties on these two groups. Let's say black tries to cut and fight, then, well, it's immediate disaster. Atari, right? This cannot happen. Or if that doesn't work somehow, then we can start honey here, and black is really struggling to find a good move. It's terrible. Or sometimes maybe white wants to play from this direction. White has so many really good options here that.
Yeah, I was concerned about the Hane in the game.
Right. So because these two groups have so few liberties, it means black usually cannot fight against this double honey. And that is why the honey is so powerful. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Especially does it make sense to Bunny?
Yeah, I played that next time.
Ah, good. I mean, you should always try to read it a bit, because this move may be much worse if black already has a stone here. And that would be because now black does not have the shape issue, right? So you do have to consider a bit before playing it. But yeah, just it is more usual than the game. The game is also often a shape, so you should not remove it from your options. Just a more special case option. What was the idea here?
Extending my corner by 4 points. Not very useful.
Now that you say that aloud, would you play this again?
Yeah. Probably not.
Right. If we go back to this picture, where on the board can one of the players build the most?
There is still some space around the 8 that I should make sure is not invadable. Other than that...
Also, not only where can one of the players, and I mean, like, consider this for both players. Where can black make the most, and where can white make the most? Also consider, are there weaknesses?
Well, I think the right side still has those invasions from earlier.
It does. Okay. So we can recognize that those exist. After we recognize that now, from where can black build the most?
It's like R12.
Don't give me moves, give me like a general area. Where can black make the most points?
Should I start extending their frameworks? Like from the top?
Let's just do this evaluation right now. So, yeah, just answer the question, like, where can black make the most points at the moment?
Maybe, like, I'm gonna say the top.
Yeah, something on top side. And where can white make the most points at the moment?
The right side?
Possibly, but actually, I would be more looking at the left side, because we already have some kind of wall there. So due to that wall, it's actually easier to build the left side than the right side. And also because the right side has those 2 invasion points that we discussed. So before you can even build anything on the right side, you have to deal with these invasions. So now, which is easier, for black to build the top side or for white to build the left side?